Students, today we are talking about a life cycle or a life spiral. So there are two materials that you're going to choose between them, and one of them you'd need your parents to help you make. So this is the one you'd need your parents to help you make. If they're going to help you make it, you can show them the first part of this video right now. We're going to take a wire coat hanger, like just a regular cheap coat hanger that you might get from the dry cleaner. And I untwisted the top part of it here so that I ended up with one. Here's the top part of the coat hanger that was bent around the curtain rod. And then I kind of straightened it out and I made one loop around here. And then I made it drop down some and I made another loop. And then once this second loop is done, you can just cut off and throw away the rest of it, or they can twist it around some more. So if your parents are up for making one of these, that's fabulous. You need a coat hanger and you need a pair of pliers to do it. I tried to show you on the video how to make it, but you couldn't see it. Boys and girls, whether or not you have the coat hanger, you need this piece of paper from your package of materials. If you do not have the coat hanger, you also need this piece of paper. If you're using the coat hanger, you can just get rid of this piece of paper. You're not going to need it. You all will need this one. You're going to need your pencil box with scissors and colors, and you're also going to need some tape. Then the last thing that you need is your unit study book along with the stickers. So boys and girls, we've already talked about butterflies in our classroom and butterflies changing. We did that during Bible. Do you remember how we had the big picture on the closet door of the butterfly starting to come out of its chrysalis? So some of the pictures and videos that we watched are actually more accurate than the Brain Pop Junior video that I'm about to show you with Annie and Moby, because they were real pictures of it actually happening. But this Brain Pop Junior video is going to be a nice review of some of the things that we learned about insects and a little bit of an introduction to the life cycle. So that's coming right now. Go ahead and watch it. It's part of this video right here. And then we'll get to what we're doing with our lesson.
Check it out. It's a butterfly. Don't worry, Moby. It's not going to hurt you. What are butterflies? Butterflies are a type of insect, like ants and beetles. Butterfly bodies have three main parts: the head, thorax, and abdomen. And like insects, they also have 3 pairs of legs and 2 antennas. Butterflies use their antennas to smell for food. They drink the nectar of different flowers. They have a special body part called a proboscis, which is like a long straw butterflies use to drink. How do butterflies grow and change? A life cycle describes how living things grow and change. Adult female butterflies lay their eggs on leaves and other places. Different butterflies lay their eggs on different plants. Many butterflies lay eggs on plants that will be food for their young. When an egg hatches, a larva crawls out. Right, Moby? The larva is called a caterpillar. Caterpillars can be colorful and have different patterns. Some caterpillars are even hairy. The caterpillar eats and eats to grow. It even sheds its skin as it gets bigger. Some caterpillars are really tiny, but others are really big. Then the caterpillar changes into a pupa, which is also called a chrysalis. Not all caterpillars spin cocoons. Some moth caterpillars spin a cocoon around them and turn into a pupa inside. But butterfly caterpillars do not make cocoons. The pupa goes through metamorphosis. It can take a few days or even a few weeks. During metamorphosis, the pupa grows wings and goes through other big changes to become an adult. Adult butterflies and moths look a lot different from caterpillars.
Now, boys and girls, you are going to hear people talk about cycles all the time. Even when you think about the word tricycle and bicycle, you hear cycle in there, right? And when you think about the wheels, cycle means wheel in Greek. On a bicycle or tricycle, they just keep going around and around and around and around, right? You could put a sticker or a little bead on one of the spokes of the bicycle, and it would just keep going around and around and around, wouldn't it? So when we talk about a cycle, we're talking about something that keeps going around and around. People talk about the water cycle sometimes, right? You have the rain that falls down, and then it goes into the lakes and the rivers and streams, and then it evaporates back up into the clouds, and it can come down as rain again. So that same drop of water can keep going around in the water cycle, just like that same bead on a bicycle might keep going around and around and around. Now, when we talk about living things like plants or people, we talk about life cycles. You guys have already had that before with your scholastic lessons, but I don't really love the idea of talking about it as a cycle, and I'm going to explain to you why. All right, boys and girls, we're going to take a look at some of the puzzles we would have in our classroom if we were in the classroom talking about a life cycle. So here is this little baby newborn bear. Now, this exact little baby newborn bear turns into this exact cub, right? When this newborn bear becomes this cub, there's not a newborn bear anymore, right? It's the same one that became the cub. And now when we get to this adult, it's this same cub that's not there anymore, right? This cub became this adult. Now here's the problem with a life cycle. A life cycle makes it sound like this adult bear becomes this newborn bear. And that's not what happens at all, is it? This adult bear has a newborn baby bear, but the adult bear is still there. Take a look at this one with chickens. The egg goes away, right? Because it turns into this chick. You don't have this egg anymore. This egg became this chick. And then when you have this chick grow up, it becomes this adult. It's not like there's an adult and a chick. The chick is gone because the chick turned into the adult. But boys and girls, you know this. That adult chicken does not turn into an egg, does it? That adult chicken lays an egg, but the chicken is still there. So this cycle is not exactly correct because it's not like this same creature switches from egg to chick to adult back to egg. It's kind of like it goes around the cycle and then it starts a new cycle, and that cycle starts a new cycle. The same thing when we're talking about insects here. We have an adult. The adult lays lots of eggs. The eggs go away and become the larva. Once the larvae hatch out of the eggs aren't there anymore. And this larva becomes an adult ladybug. But this adult ladybug does not come ladybug eggs. It lays ladybug eggs, but the eggs and the adult are there at the same time. And that doesn't happen here, right? The eggs turn into the larva and then the eggs are gone. And the larva turns into the adult. And then the adult is gone, but that adult does not turn into ladybug eggs. That's just silly. All right, boys and girls, now that we've talked about that, you have this paper with two identical sets of pictures, right? I want you to cut out, go ahead, color it first, and then cut out one set of pictures. Do not cut out both of them yet, just cut out one set right now. All right, boys and girls, I have not colored mine yet because I'm trying to finish this up a little bit quickly and get on to some other things, but I hope yours have at least a little bit of color. So we're going to start here with the eggs, right? That's the first thing. Then the eggs hatch and these little tiny caterpillar larvae come out. And those caterpillar larvae, well, they keep eating and they get bigger, huh? And then they form, this one is actually a cocoon because this is a moth. Then the moth hatches out of the cocoon. And finally, you guys know from watching that video, this is in the class, right? Do you remember that? How the body was all full and it had to push the liquid into the wings so the wings could be big. This kind of shows that nicely, right? Because here's a big body and tiny wings, and now here you can see the body's smaller and the wings are out bigger. So this is the order that it goes in, doesn't it? Eggs, tiny larvae coming out of eggs, larvae getting bigger, then making the cocoon or the chrysalis, the pupa stage, and then they come out, and then they can fly away. So boys and girls, here is where our spirals come into play. All right, boys and girls, if you have the coat hanger all bent up, go ahead and get your little curly Q spirally coat hanger. If you don't have the coat hanger, then get the paper that had the spiral on it, pause the video, and cut along the spiral lines so that you end up with a big long curly Q piece of paper, kind of like this. All right, and then get your tape and the pictures that you just cut out. So guys, we're going to use our spirals now to show how this cycle keeps going, but it's not like that exact thing turns into that other one. So I have now my first picture, this one here that has the eggs on the flower stem. Oh, and I just dropped it. Hang on. Oh my gracious, I had to crawl under my chair to get that. All right, things go wrong even for the teacher. So I'm going to take my little picture here and I'm going to tape it on to the beginning of my spiral. Do you see that right there? I've got that taped on. Now I'm going to get the next one. And if you're like me and your spiral's not very big, you're going to have to kind of squeeze to get them on. I'm going to get another piece of tape and tape that one on. Now, if you are doing this on the paper spiral, go ahead and just start not exactly in the middle because it's going to get a little tight, but you could start maybe just down a little bit, taping these on in order to go down your spiral. So I'm going to keep taping mine around. I'm going to squish and squeeze. You can see mine are overlapping a little bit. I'm going to squish and squeeze so that I get all this set of pictures. Those of you using the coat hangers, I'm going to get it all here onto this top level. All right. Those of you guys using the spiral, you know, your spiral doesn't stay on one level, but try to get them on together pretty closely. So now I have all of mine on there. You see they're kind of overlapping. That whole set is right up here on the top level. And now I'm going to cut out my second set and put it down on the bottom level to show that this goes around and it kind of keeps going, but it keeps going with another layer of it because this butterfly right here is not going to turn into the eggs that I'm going to put down underneath. That butterfly is going to lay the eggs and it's going to start over with a whole new set, not these exact same ones. All right, guys, so here you can see I have my eggs going around to my larva, getting to the big caterpillar, to the cocoon, to the butterfly coming out, and now it comes down and it starts, well, you can't see that very well because they're tucked in, huh? Starts the new set with eggs that grow into caterpillars that make cocoons and eventually hatch out into new butterflies. All right, guys, if you're working with the paper spiral, go ahead and put them in order, going right down it. And then when you get to the butterfly, before you make the next set that's going to have the eggs in it, leave a gap that shows it's not like this goes straight to it. This becomes something else and it kind of will start then a second layer down. All right, next thing you need is your unit study book. We have this insect page here. We are going to turn to the next page now. On this page now, we're going to write life cycle. Life, and first grade in Lily, you can see vowel, consonant, silent E. Cycle, Y is pretending to be a vowel and it makes the S make its short sound. Life cycle, kind of like bicycle or tricycle, but life cycle. Life cycle. Now this is mostly for insects, but go ahead and put here egg and go ahead and draw a little picture of an egg, maybe 2 or 3. You know, insects tend to put lots of eggs together. Then put an arrow to show this now becomes larva. And you know what? You can even put larva in parentheses because there are a few insects like a praying mantis that doesn't make a larva stage. But go ahead and make something that looks kind of like a caterpillar, sort of like a worm with lots of little feet coming off of it. And then adult. Now, of course, this is really simplified. We could add in here a pupa stage, although some of them don't have the pupa stage. There could be other things in here too. Now for adult, you can draw any kind of adult insect that you want. It's the adult, though, that has those characteristics we talked about yesterday. So whatever type of insect you draw, it needs to have the 3 body parts, 6 legs, 3 on each side. And then if you want to, you can give it 2 antennae. But you don't have to because remember, not all of them have it. Now what I want you to do is draw a line like this that comes back to here with a new arrow showing it starts all over now. It's kind of a cycle, but it also makes kind of a spiral that keeps starting new layers. And here you can just do egg, just put an E, to L for larva, to A for adult, and then do another one down here. Egg to larva to adult, and do one more. Just showing that this keeps going. Egg to larva to adult over and over and over, just like with humans, we have babies that grow up into children that grow up into adults, and then the adults might have more babies who grow up into children who grow up into adults, and then those adults might have more babies, and so on and so forth. But this one turns into this one that turns into this one, but this one starts over with new ones. Now, boys and girls, I want you to get your stickers. And I want you to choose one of these great scientist stickers to put on here. Because scientists, they really take some time thinking carefully about how things actually work. Do you see her? And when she does this, she's watching really closely to see how these work. And she's using her hands to see how it works. She's kind of taking notes. Can you see the arrows there? Now, if we were in school, we would be doing these kinds of things. We'd be actually finding bugs and watching them and seeing how they work. We can't do that. But we're doing our best approximation over here. So go ahead and put that great scientist sticker showing that you are really thinking and observing closely about how these things work. So boys and girls, when you send me your unit study work for today, you could do one of two things. You could just take 2 pictures. You can take a picture of your book with your life cycle spiral in there, or bloopers, this is my dog. He didn't like something in the kitchen and he's hiding and he messed up my curtains. All right, boys and girls, when you send me your work for today, you could do it one of 2 ways. You could either take 2 pictures, one of your unit study book with the life cycle spiral put in there, and a second picture of your life cycle spiral, whether it's here on the coat hanger or it's on the paper spiral, or you can just take them and sort of stack them one on top of each other like this and take one picture of both of them together. And I'll probably be able to pinch out, and look at it a little more closely and be able to tell that you've got it there. So that's the way to send me, but I want to see both of them. I want to see your book and I want to see your nifty little spiral here.